The presentation of today's racing program is a copyrighted broadcast of the New York Racing Association, Incorporated. Any rebroadcast, recreation, or retransmission of this broadcast without the expressed written consent of the New York Racing Association, Incorporated is strictly prohibited.
Ladies and gentlemen, to honor America, please stand for our national anthem. And they're off. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to beautiful Belmont Park. Sunny skies on this Sunday as we wrap up the holiday weekend. Temperature will be in the high 80s. The main track is fast, the turf course is firm. Portable rails are up on both the Widener and the Inner at 9 feet. And there's a jackpot carryover in the Empire 6 of $328,347. And we will have a mandatory payout 1 week from today, Sunday, July the 12th, which is closing day here at Belmont. Right now, we'll take a look at the changes for today's 10-race card. Starting in the first race, scratch 3, Enough Love, and the 4, All About Rihanna. Scratch 3 and 4, and note that number 7, Mosienko, is 2 pounds over. In the second race, scratch number 1, Back Channel, and the 4, Cherokee Song. Scratch 1 and 4, and these horses will carry 2 pounds over, numbers 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. In today's third race, scratch number 9, Mucho Sunshine. Scratch the 9. These horses are 2 over, numbers 1, 2, 5, 6, 8, and 10, and number 7 will be 1 pound over. In the fourth race, scratch 1A, Make a Stand, 11, My Amangina, and 12, Magical Tale. Scratch 1A, 11, and 12, and note that numbers 1 and 9 are 2 pounds over. Race 5 will start the Empire 6. In the fifth race, scratch number 5, Fast Gordon, scratch the 5. Numbers 9, 10, 11, and 12 are 2 pounds over. Also note that number 11, Anyone Else But You, is a gelding. And scratch the also eligibles 13 Disciplinarian through the 16 San Rema. So in race 5, scratch numbers 5, 13, 14, 15, and 16. In the 6th race, no changes. 7th race, couple of scratches. Scratch 1, Indy Union, and 4, the Great Johanna. Scratch 1 and scratch 4 out of the 7th. And in the 8th race, scratch 1, Giant Shoes, and the 4, Inside Info. 8th race, scratch numbers 1 and 4. In race 9, scratch the 1. It's all relevant. Scratch number 1. And numbers 2, 7, and 11 are 2 pounds over. In today's 10th and final race, we have overweights. With the exception of numbers 1 and 8, all horses will be 2 pounds over. Fast and firm here at Belmont with a jackpot carryover in the Empire 6 of more than $328,000. We will return at 12:45 to recap the changes. First race post time, 1:15. Up next, it's Andy Serling and Anthony Stabile. They are talking horses.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Talking Horses. He is the big A, Anthony Stabile. I'm Andy Serling. 10-race card today, Anthony. If we have a little time towards the end, we'll try to go over some of races from yesterday. Obviously, a great day of racing, and thanks to our fans for supporting us as well as you have. Let's go to Naira Bets. Anthony, would you like to read the Naira Bets promo?
I'm there already, sure, but you can go there. 100% deposit match up to $200. Promo code is MATCH200. Head over to NairaBets.com. Of course, the E5 Racing Silks right there. I think it's rushing fall, but I'm not 100% sure.
I would guess this. And you know, I'm going to give you about an 84 for that. Well, I'll give you some point for your read. I'll give you some pointers a little bit later.
It's a little more energetic than yours normally is. No offense.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you. You know, I'm not. By the way, I didn't say I was higher at 84. I didn't say it wasn't better than me.
You make a great point.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Anyhow, 10 to talk about. We got to talk about today's cards. But like I said, if we have some time at the end, we'll talk about yesterday's races a little bit. Race number 1, a key scratch of your top choice, the number 3. A good scratch for you, Anthony. It's always a good day for you when a horse like that gets scratched first time out. Where, pray tell, did you end up, my friend?
Well, I wound up with Queendom from the rail, Eric Cancel.
Particularly good scratch for you.
Who was aboard for Queendom's lone win back in April of last year. Had a couple of races under her belt since the break, since the March to June break. Got back to the dirt last time out. The turf race was actually one of the better races this horse had run, figure-wise. Anyway,
don't use turf figures
Yeah.
for horses to get beat 5 lengths and finish 10th. Those
Yeah.
figures they're just not relevant.
No, I understand. Last time out, you know, I mean, I would think the issue with her is going to be pace in here. She could use a little pace to run at. And
I don't think she's that slow. I don't think she'll be that much compromised in this race.
Okay.
And I think if you think the pace is going to affect her, then the 7 is in more trouble because she may be farther back, but I'm not sure. I think Queendom's very logical. And to be honest, I could have picked her on top. I didn't really realize that the 7 would be such a short price in here because I make these picks long before the morning lines come out. And I'm not sure I would have picked the 7. I did like the 7 kind of getting back to the dirt. Now, I tried this turf dirt move with Michelle Nevin yesterday, and my horse is around the 8th pole there. So the dirt races weren't that good, and they were wet tracks, but I'm going to hope that maybe that'll get her to come alive, but I wouldn't bet this horse in a super short price.
You know what Mozienko was named for?
No, I don't.
The fastest man to score a hat trick in NHL history. He did it in 21 seconds.
The horse I would like, thank you, the horse I would like to play against here is the 2 Chasing Losses, who right now is 2-1. If this horse is taking money, David Canizzo's numbers, with all due respect, off the claim are not good. I don't want any part of this horse.
Yeah, the claim combined with that type of break, again, just based on these short numbers here in the form, he's just 1 for 28. Yeah, it's a recipe. I don't understand where all the money's coming from because quite frankly, this horse would have to step up off the maiden win to take on the likes of Mozienko and even Queendom. Queendom has better races.
I do not disagree. I'm mostly 7-1 and maybe a little 6.
I think Lana Grita might benefit from being up close today. I don't know where the speed's.
This is a very murky pace in here. The 2 has speed, the 8 has speed, but I think this is going to be a race that turns out to be run however riders decide to ride their horses, because it doesn't appear to be convinced. I use a pace projector, but this was a race where I wasn't sure I wanted to lean too heavily.
Rayleigh might be able to take advantage with Lana Grita. I'm going to use her in my early pick 5 as well.
Race number 2, there's a heavy favorite and 2 sexy. And the Clermont Bar that started out really, really well has been a little quieter. It's tough to keep it going for a long time. We'll take a look at a race last time. I think on the surface of things, you look at and go, wow, she was the 2-1 second choice here. She really didn't run well. I don't agree. I think she ran about as well as she ran in a race before that. I think she just met a tougher field. She had a good trip in here, got a very good ride by John Velasquez. I just thought she may have had better horses, and you've got a situation with a Chad Brown Firster and Sing Me Home, who Chad with first-time stars in these turf sprints, he doesn't have great numbers in those situations. You've got the Belmont first-time star, a homebred, that's really not a giant turf, but she has a half to a couple turf winners, and that's Rivendell. And Risk Model, even, the other Chad Brown runner, that's not really a turf pedigree.
No.
And this, if Chad Brown thinks they're turf horses, he usually runs them by their second start, if not their first. And Into Mischief, you don't think of. And it's kind of like, well, not a dirt horse, and we'll really see. The Dam was a turf horse for Todd that ran some good figures, but not that good. And I just think Too Sexy, she just might be in a field where she's just supposed to win.
You go looking, when you see a horse like Too Sexy, who's kind of run the same race all 3 times she's run, you know, the result has really been the only, where she's finished is really the only difference. 6th, 2nd, 3rd, they've been the same 3 races,
yeah,
essentially.
I think that's fair.
Maybe cutting back is going to help her. I don't know if
It's not going to hurt her.
Right, but for all we know, stretching out would help her. I don't know.
I just
know there were no real there were no little nuggets to unearth here to try to take a shot against her.
And I think she ran to a better field last time. Cost benefit is a promising euro. And,
So Shug was third.
Shug's horse is okay.
There's
in
nothing
there.
wrong with that field.
I agree. So
one of the firsters would have to. One of the firsters would really have to.
Either Too Sexy is just a horse that's not going to win races, or one of the. And listen, the 2, 5, 2, 6, and 7 are all unknowns. Good barns, have a right to be runners, but none of them are jumping off the page and screaming runner.
What about morality clause from my arch nemesis Ray Handel? This horse showed some, not speed, but that second start where she wasn't far from the pace. Can Dylan Davis get a little? I mean, it's 9 months. It's been a while, but
you would think risk model will be forward in here.
Yeah.
But let me say something else about morality clause. First of all, I don't think that distance is going to be your friend, and also, the only way this horse is second is the same way that Moretti was second yesterday's Suburban, when everybody else fails to show up.
Okay.
I mean, I did look at morality clause, but I don't.
I got you.
Got to be a lot of no-shows in there for that horse to run well in there. Race number 3, well, you're just going to pick every Horatio de Paz. That's your new move, right? He's your new boy. Does Horatio know that like, your love for Bill Mott could be being transferred? I saw Bill yesterday. He had this kind of forlorn look like your love could be transferring to Horatio de Paz.
No offense to Horatio, but I don't think so.
You don't think so? But I don't know. I mean, he's your new man. I mean, you guys, does he know you guys are like dating on the show, basically?
I don't know. I don't know.
You're just like, look at you, you're blushing.
You're the guy that picks every Dennis Lauman horse is going to harass me for picking
How much money have I made with Dennis Lauman?
Well, I mean,
you're rich over Horatio Paz's 2-to-1 shots
but
in one?
Horatio de Paz, I've been having some success with him. You take.
Okay, so this
you
one
dance with the guy that brought you to the
see
dance.
is he picking the other one you picked. You probably, whatever. Anyhow, go ahead. Why do you like this horse, or is it just part of your marriage to Horatio?
I mean, there's
he can sponsor Anthony Stabile, sponsored by Horatio de Paz.
I am very surprised. Very
surprised.
I'm very surprised.
Irish surprise or something?
That was from Morley. That was for Tom Morley. I'm very surprised you picked this horse. This horse is kind of a kitchen. This horse is kind of a kitchen. This horse is kind of a kitchen sink.
I disrespect him.
Blinkers drop, fast track, rider change, circuit change. This is a little kitchen sink for you.
I don't like this field, and there's no question the 5. God, you picked him over a Bill Mott horse.
Listen,
I'm telling you right now, if Bill is watching the show, he is crushed, absolutely crushed. You're going to do this to your man. How long have you been friends with Bill Mott?
I didn't pick Frank.
You've probably been friends with Bill Mott since like you were 10 or
Bill
something.
Mott used to get on horses from my dad and John Wisniewski when he was here with the Jack Vanberg horse.
Tremendous.
Bill Mott was at my college graduation party doing the YMCA.
He doesn't still gallop horses, right? But he was.
No,
he was fantastic.
He was fantastic. Yeah, Bill was really good on a horse. Bill used to get on John Wisniewski's horses when my dad was John's assistant.
Well, he has a fallback position in case that
training thing doesn't
work out.
I think he's all right now.
3 wins yesterday for Bill Mott.
Yes. Frank's Rocket, they all ran. We got
I like
later.
Fed Funds because I don't like the others. I've had enough of Tri St. Lorenzo. That race last time was begging to fall apart, and I think Ink Spots was falling apart. It's just nobody could possibly get there in the race. Warfront Fighter, Tri State Lorenzo. Yeah, height can win. Belmont's got good numbers overall. Not. The problem with Bill Mott's numbers, he's run 23% maiden special and maiden clear in the dirt. He's got a good ROI because Archie paid $50-something that day. Without Archie, he's close to $1.90, which is fine.
Now, Archie was like 4 years ago. Right.
I loved Archie. Maggie and I love that horse.
Too.
It's such a great name.
The numbers are almost identical for the last year and a half. It's 23% as well. So I think that shows, when you talk about the 5-year stat, and this shows you the last 17 or 18 months, I think that shows the consistency in the barn.
Makes sense. This is a logical horse. Horse actually ran well first time out. Has not gone on with it. No. I don't think either one of us are particularly against the 5. But Fed Funds didn't take a lot of money, took a little money first time out, caught a sloppy sealed track. And here's one, Horatio de Paz, maiden special weight to maiden claimer on the dirt. He doesn't have many long stats, doesn't have that many starters or anything. He hasn't been training his own for that long. He's 3 for 8, 4 hitting the board, 317 ROI. I just thought the field was also live. You looked that race up, that was a very solid field that Fed Funds ran in. He just seemed like the logical alternative in a race where I didn't feel like taking height on top at 8-5. That was really
I couldn't say it better myself.
Yeah. I'm sure you couldn't. You make a great point.
No, it was
race number 4.
Just didn't want height, and the only thing that makes sense.
I think you and I disagree about race number 4.
I believe we do as well.
We do. I thought this was, well,
I had a tough time with this heat.
I didn't. For my money, I know there were 4 major players in here. 3 major players, excuse me, the 7, 9, and 10. And I think Bray is absolutely the horse to beat in here. And, you know, this is the difference of opinion you and I had. If I was going to put only the horse I felt was the horse likeliest winner, I would put this horse on top. But I think he's going to be a significantly shorter price in here than the number 9, Torres Del Paine, and I don't think there's that big a difference between them winning the race. So I put Torres Del Paine on top. I don't like how Bray didn't even get by Anna's Man last time for second. But it was coming off a layoff, and he did run well in his second start. His first start, he did not run well. He had a perfect trip. He was gold rail. Torres Del Paine, now, you know I love Joel Rosario, but I didn't love the ride that Joel Rosario gave this
Kind of
horse
got
last
lost
time.
on this horse last time.
He did.
I think that's the only way you could put it, too. He kind of was just like...
I hate criticizing Joel because he's my man.
Me too, but it was... I remember you liked this
ride.
horse last time. You and I disagreed about... It's funny. You and I disagreed about this horse last time as well. He kind of got a little lost on him last time.
He did. And now, he wasn't winning anyway, to be fair. He wasn't being... He should have been second. He probably should have been second.
Probably should have been second.
And I'm not sure that's necessarily going to be good enough to beat Bray, but I'll take my chances.
I think that's my issue
you got him out of your
with
top
him.
4.
I don't like the... I'm not a fan of this horse.
Okay. What do you like about My Sacred Place?
I have to think, unless I'm reading this thing incorrectly, that this horse is going to be on the front end today. Now, that's not the only reason I like this horse. They ran this horse one time on the turf, and it was against Decorated Invader as a 2-year-old.
The horse got to the far turn, and he looked like you doing a quarter-mile sprint.
And that's all well and good. That's all well and good. But, and I know his number wasn't fast, but he kind of handled the mile 2 starts back. And then he kind of got involved in the pace last time.
I don't think he's a turf horse.
Maybe he's not. Maybe he's not. But
he's
going to Brad Cox. I know he's going from Service, but he's going to Brad Cox.
He's going from Jason Service. What is it? SGF 1000? Is that what it is? Off?
Yes.
Is that what the accused indictment says? What? You want these? How's this week been for ex-Jason Service
Not
horses?
good.
Kyoto? How about Chateau at Monmouth?
I didn't see it, but I heard it was just...
The 8th ball down now.
Do you get angry when you see these horses when you see these horses come back? See, for me, it's twofold.
I'm frustrated by
I'm
angry about the entire
by all
thing.
of it.
I'm angry
but
about
then I think about the scores some of these horses
anybody
cost
in this
me.
game that is screwing and cheating bettors and other owners and other trainers and everybody involved in the game.
I don't disagree.
It makes me
it's twofold.
furious, Anthony.
As somebody who grew up on the backstretch,
just bring it up. Just
it
makes
gets
me
me
furious.
angry. But then you think about some of the scores these horses.
Think about the money you've spent throwing their horses into pick 5s and pick 4s over the years because you had to. And you think about the times they've beat you when you've been second at 15-1 and they've won it at 4-5 and you could have made a score. Yeah, it's not fair. By the way, it's hard to win at this game, and none of us are claiming that we're going to win a fortune playing the horses, but it's hard enough. And then to have somebody, so yes. And so... Now, listen, I'm not saying that My Sacred Place was a horse that did anything incredible on the racetrack, so let's be fair and be honest. It's not like this horse ran some remarkable races for Jason Service. So maybe it just doesn't matter in this particular case. I gave this horse a long look, Anthony. I wished I could find something to like about this horse in this turf race.
He's going to be a little bit of a price. I think overall, I'd rather have, all things being equal, I'd rather have Brad Cox training my turf horse than Jason Service to begin with. Now, maybe whether the after effects there, I would.
Jason Service's turf sprint numbers weren't good enough for you?
The turf sprints. Brad Cox,
you know
it's a different beast when they start going
Brad
along.
Cox has one of the most amazing stats I've ever seen. Brad Cox is 43% with over 100 starters off of wins in turf routes.
That's nuts. You know how nuts that is that you're going to repeat at 43%? I'm not letting that horse be. That horse is going to be a little bit of a price.
I'm letting that horse beat me.
Because I think they'll bet your horse. I think obviously Bray's going to be closer to even money than 9-5, I would think, in here.
We'll move on.
Mandate will take money. So
race number 5. My top choice was scratched in here. The 5, Fast Gordon. Linda had to fulfill her requirement of the 1 scratch.
Oh, I forgot to do the fourth.
Mine would be 3.
We both forgot the 4th.
Mine would be 3. Loyalty to my friend Steve Bick and that potent DT stable.
Okay, so Andy's going 3.
About 4th picks here. Very important. As far as Daring Disguise,
I'll go 12.
Here's my point with Daring Disguise. I know the horse is 0 for 11 and 0 for 8 on the turf. A mile is definitely too far for this horse. We've seen the Jimmy Bond horses run well, but they particularly run well second off a layoff. And this horse, maybe 6 is even better than 7. This horse just consistently was running faster figures than anybody else in here. And I think Daring Disguise might just be better than these horses. I don't really have a...
Listen,
there isn't that much left,
the
Anthony.
well,
the AEs were loaded with the contenders. I think
these
I
are
had
my
2
third.
of them.
These are my 3rd and 4th picks.
I put 6 picks up for this race and got left
So did I.
with 3, right?
So did I.
So it's, you know...
So
right.
did I. And, and Fast Gordon was late.
I hate when the AEs are loaded with the best horses because it just, you know, win or lose, it just makes it for a different race.
Yeah, that makes for a tougher race.
All 3 in the AEs actually had a real chance.
13, 14, 15.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah.
They would have been major players here.
Listen, I didn't have a strong opinion in here. I'm going to close to 7, 9, 11. Maybe use a little 12.
What about no 12?
7, 9, 11, maybe a little 12.
My
That's
man
what I
Bruce
said.
Lunsford in town?
Yeah.
Not a lot of pedigree in this one, though,
No.
to be honest, for turf. Nice to see Bruce coming down from Canada with this one. Been racing that New York Red in Canada. I know it borders New York, but about time.
All weather. I don't know what to tell you.
All right.
I didn't really have much. I want to talk about the 80s.
There's not a lot to talk about
No.
with who's left in this race. I do not disagree.
Robbie Falcone's had a good start to his career, but if he has one chink in his armor, it's been the first-time starters. I don't think any of them
He's
have
got
won.
2. He's a friend of yours.
No, I just said he hasn't won with a first-time starter. So
Just kidding.
if he was a friend, I would have just
What you guys don't
glossed
know is how
over it.
mean Anthony is to me off the air.
Yeah, this is what I get. I get the goodies. I get him
Leftovers.
chicken cutlet and provolone,
No, I got it. You dropped me off at the store to get
and I
it.
get papers.
Anthony is. Let me tell you something.
that I need the
Everybody in
chicken cutlet
life
and mozzarella,
should have one
but-
friend like this guy. Race number 6.
Very nice of you to say.
I thought
You make a great
that
point.
it is a great point. And anybody that knows you and is lucky enough to have you as a friend knows that as well. I can't trust Tapazierance's performances in the new barn. It's no knock on Toscano, but this horse just improved so dramatically. But I will say Tapazierance is second off a layoff for a barn that does not have good layoff numbers. To be fair, if you like that horse.
If you want to give him one more chance,
So I
it's
guess
today.
it's sort of 1, 2, 5, 6, 7 in here. I do think, and hey, we got a replay. We'll go back to Riken, and we'll go back to Riken's win 2 back because I bet him. No, because it includes Mr. Bobby, and he held on for a miraculous photo. I do occasionally win a photo. I know I just said that Jimmy Bond's horses have been running better second off a layoff. I thought Mr. Bobby might be kind of interesting in here, and of the 4 would be one of the better prices. I think that Riken is very much the horse to beat. I just hate picking a horse that was 25 to 1 the time before to come back. He's the one to beat. I took Mr. Bobby to turn the tables. Slightly better price.
I did not go to the wedding, and this horse can absolutely win.
I went to that wedding.
You went to that one. Riken could absolutely win, but like you know. And the other thing is this: it was clearly the best race that horse ever ran. I want to see it again, and I don't want to see it at that price. Riken.
I think Riken may just be improved for Dave Duncan. I think
Maybe
there's a very
he
good
is.
chance this horse is just an improved horse. And the problem with your pick, and we'll look at Favola, is I don't know, man. Do you really trust this horse? You know, he runs in a sort of mediocre 4-horse field. The horse that won came back to win at Tampa and ran 3 Beyer points worse. Blowout win. I mean, this horse can win, but it's the Chad Brown factor. He's going to get overbet off an 8-length win.
Looked like he needed his first race, and you know sometimes even as great as
he's
Chad
missing
is
his
first
eye
time out, horse just looked like he needed his first race. And then the fact that he came back, I know it was 4 horses, but man, he did it very, very easily.
He did, but
And I think
I think he's going to be overbet here, Anthony.
He
if
could
he had
be.
Irad
That
Ortiz,
could-
he'd be like even money.
that could be his biggest knock in here, but. You know, these starter allowance races,
win.
these condition claiming races, these horses. Look, there's nothing wrong with Riken. Riken can absolutely win this race, but he's
glad
going
to
to
hear
be.
you say that. Well, I don't know. I'm not certain. I think your horse is going to be.
He's got Riken higher than Coach Villa.
I don't agree with him there. I agree. Well, it's you know, if you're if you're David, you are making all of the Irad Ortiz's horses much lower.
Yeah, I guess.
And I think I don't know if I would say it's erring on the side of caution, But the reality is, if you haven't been making the Irad Ortiz horses significantly lower than you would make them if riders' names were all X, Mr. X,
right,
then you're getting burned. And that's why David's a good morning line maker, you know, and why he doesn't let his opinion get in the way of his morning line, because he's acknowledging that, hey, may not love this horse, but something else to point out about Favola, and thank you to my friend Steve, this horse was on a good rail that day. I neglected to say that. So you might want to be a little careful with that as well. I don't particularly like Coach Villa in here. I think this is a better field. We've got him fourth on this by default.
I do agree it's a better field.
Race number 7. You and I have a strong disagreement in here of the 2 Chad Brown runners. I do not particularly like the one that you put on top in this race and much prefer the other one. We'll get to that. We'll look at Stone Tornado's last race and Kitten's Cover Girl finishing 4th in there. You know something? This pace was quick. Stone Tornado moved into it. Lady Lawyer, the other Chad Brown horse, ran a much better race. I'm not sold on this horse. I don't think this horse is that good coming in. I actually think Madeline Must, the 7, the more I looked at it, might run better. I thought she ran like a horse that needed the race. But I don't love this race they're coming out of, and I don't like Stone Tornado.
You don't think Stone Tornado maybe just moved a little too soon?
Did she maybe move a little soon? Maybe. So what? I don't really like her in here. I think the other one's the better horse. You know, it's funny. Racing Post, if nobody's ever used the racingpost.com website when the Europeans come, I would highly recommend it because it is cumbersome compared to Formulator. But for any of us that use Formulator, and if you don't use DRF's Formulator and you're playing seriously, I think you're missing out on an opportunity because you can reach inside the charts and pull up the charts and look at who horses have run against and horse out of town. Well, you can really do that in the Racing Post website for free. You put in the horse's name, you get up the horse, you get the PPs for him, and you can go race by race, and you can pull back the races they come out of and look at the competition. And you get surprised sometimes by names that show up or accomplishments that show up. For instance, forget about She's Got You, who did finish behind Chaleur last time. That was when they ran on synthetic. She finished ahead of her in her September 27th race, and we all know the 9 Chaleur, how well she ran. And in that race, she lost to Agincourt. Well, Agincourt, all she did was come back and run second in the Duke of Cambridge, a Group 2 at Ascot in a 22-horse field. You look at the horse that finished 3rd to her 3 races back. That horse was second in the big. These horses have run in significant race. Oh, actually, I think Richmond Avenue finished 3rd in that race behind She's Got You. She came over and ran the Goldacova behind Toinette at Santa Anita in her next start. I think she finished 3rd to her. Toinette would be pretty tough in here. She's a pretty good horse. So She's Got You's got pretty good European bloodlines. Now, running lines. Now, it's not going to always transfer, but, you know, and I recommend, you know, because we do get a lot of Europeans running here, and that Racing Post website is very easy to navigate. It'll take you a little more time, but if you want to look at these races and try to parse out the Europeans, it's a very good, very, very good asset.
She has a little U.S. racing connections. Half the Tamara Cruz and Without Parole, who Chad has now, was 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Mile last year. Yeah, so
makes sense. Without You,
gets
babe.
the Lasix.
Is that the opposite of I've Got You, babe? Without You, babe?
You want what, baby? Yeah.
I thought Chaleur, the 9, ran very well last time and cost me the win. I needed Art of Almost, who came back to win at a short price at Woodbine and kind of set it up for the winner. We'll go to Churchill and take a look at Chaleur's last race, but she's Anthony Isle. What's wrong with her?
Nothing. There's nothing wrong with her. She's got the 1 1/8 race under her belt off of the 6.5-month layoff, and now she gets to cut back to go a mile. She's only run a mile once. You mentioned the Agincourt race. She ran 3rd over in over at Goodwood as well. Yeah, I mean, you got to figure this race is going to...
Anthony, glorious Goodwood.
Yeah. Sorry?
Glorious Goodwood. I wish Goodwood didn't run during Saratoga. That's a track I would love to go to.
Yeah. I feel like she's going to certainly benefit, and I think if the Chad horses get beaten here, I think it'll be her.
I agree. I'm not a big fan of Medita, who's going to take money in here. I'll show you a stat for Arnaud Delacour. And, you know, you contrast this to others. Off of wins, his horses have not come back and run a better race. I also think she beat up, and no knock on Xanthique, who came back to win, and I think she's a nice horse. I think she's running against significantly tougher here.
Well,
she's
potentially running against significantly tougher in here, yes. And she had a pretty good setup
they're all
last time.
potentially running against.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, she got a particularly good setup last time, too.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, I mean, I put her 4th, but I thought the 6, 8, 9 would dominate the board. If she's really going to be 5 to 2,
I don't like the 6.
Yeah,
I'm going to bet against the 6 here.
Okay.
Race number 8. I put Big Thicket first because I knew Anthony couldn't resist Big Thicket in this race. I mean, Rudy, Irad. This was like, I mean, this you saw this horse, and I don't even, did you even look at the others?
I did.
By the way, did Irad get days for this? This is one of my favorites. I mean, this is where he just pushes Kendrick aside. Kendrick's got him, and Irad belonged in that spot, and Kendrick's got him where he wants him, and Irad said, hey, get out of my way, and he just pushed him out of the way.
He did not get days for that one. He got days for Thursday.
If I was a steward, he would have. He just forced his way out. And the thing is, I understand that he ultimately proved the best horse, but in race riding terms, he was in a package that he might not have gotten out of if he didn't force his way out, and that's why I would have taken him down.
Maybe not.
That's my interpretation. I mean, you know, different people look at things differently. I don't know, Ant. Last time was the time. When has he ever put together back-to-back races? What?
I had him last time. Does
I got that $7. Wow.
Does that give me license to come back?
You know, if
with
I
him?
knew about that, I'd have made you pay for my my chicken cutlet with the provolone.
I can't disagree with anything you said. I was kind of surprised he stayed up. I was happy, but I was very surprised.
Did. Yeah, you texted me. Yeah.
I was. See those quick hands?
I'm telling you, you're
quick hands, my friend. Quick hands.
Like a ballet dancer over there.
Cat-like. Yeah.
You know,
full brothers duking it out in here.
You think when the Islanders open up next year, we can get more pucks? More full brothers?
Full brothers. Big Thicket and Tail of the Union. Not halves, fulls.
I have bad news for you. The younger brother is going to beat the older brother today. Let's take a look at...
We launching this? We can launch this one.
Happily. I'll take the 8 over there. We're at 47?
Yeah.
Okay. 8 over... Yep.
We could lunch this one.
8 over 2. Lunch.
There's Tail of the Union not really getting off particularly well.
Tail of the Union ran a remarkable race here. This horse got completely and totally left, rushed up into the pace, down on the inside, and they were moving up front. I know the pace basically held together. They were moving. Quick Flash actually got a very good ride. Junior sort of eases the horse off of the pace and then comes around to get second here. I thought Tail of the Union ran remarkably well. Now you get a fast track, but you also get an outside post. And if you're worried about horses that broke badly, but lunging at the start is rarely something you see repeated. That's usually a one-time thing.
That's usually just a little keyed up, ready to roll.
Bad timing.
Bad timing on the
gate at the wrong
yeah.
time. This horse breaks me outside. Honestly, I think Tail of the Union is going to be very hard to beat today.
Okay. You know, I don't know what it is with him. I covered the Santa Anita race.
We're at the quarter pole here.
On Red Brand Radio.
These guys just keep wanting to show all this race. They just love it. You guys can turn this off if you want. There's not much left to see.
This horse didn't do any running in his first start. First start back.
You missed the sneak preview.
I didn't see it.
Oh yeah, sneak preview.
He didn't do any running in his first start back, and he did have a trip last time.
Anthony, the no running he did in his first start back. It's not unclear that the no running he did that day wasn't good enough to win here. I'm just telling you, the no running he did that day.
And he's going to be 3 to 5 today.
No, he's not going to be 3 to 5, Anthony. He's not going to be 3 to 5 because a lot of people are going to be betting you and Irad. So he's not going to be 3 to 5. I don't know.
You think this horse is higher than even money today?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. You want to bet on lunch on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what are we doing? Lunch for the heads up and lunch for the even money?
Lunch.
Even money's a push?
Yes. Yep.
4 evens a push.
Even push. 410 is me.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm up 49 lunches going into the final week here at Belmont. Can you believe that?
Sounds so weird, right?
You just got the bad news that I won't be here next weekend. I thought you handled it well. You know, I could see that you were tearing up, and I could see it. I'll be here Thursday and Friday, don't worry, but I will not be here this weekend. But I could see that
so
you
want to tune in every day,
very briefly,
but you'll definitely want to tune in Friday because it's going to be a full week before you can just bombard
Steve was watching on camera in the truck, and I think Steve will agree that there was a very emotional moment for me at that moment.
I was verklempt.
Steve says there was a single teardrop. Race number 9.
Ever unfazed by something
Race
more.
number 9 feels like a steak. It's really a sensational race. And let's talk about the first defense. The first defense was the race. The second defense was Ray Lou Gutierrez trying to fend off Irad Ortiz on Therapist.
That was good. You're good.
Another odd non-disqualification. Majestic Dunhill ran extremely well in there, and in my opinion, should have been placed first. I'm not sure what to do with Delaware, who I will say that Joel was trying to weave through traffic, blinkers on and Lasix, and we'll get to that replay from the first defense if we can. Delaware's sort of in the back of the pack. easier to make that wide unencumbered run. First wave, saved ground and angled out and ran well. Came back and I thought ran a winning race yesterday. Probably was best yesterday. But Majestic Dunhill, he was supposed to win this race last time. He ran well.
Yeah, there was a lot going on in here. Did you play harness when you were younger? You were a harness guy when you were younger, right?
I grew up in Saratoga. I went to Saratoga harness my entire
Delaware's
life.
trip in here in the sports side would have been no chance trip.
The Irad came over so much he almost knocked his brother over on the horse in the rail, and yet they left.
It was
it up.
Javier. Javier was coming up with Tornado. Flavius. Javier was on Flavius.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. And that's why I thought.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
I'm not.
Okay.
Maybe Steve will text us. I really
That
thought
wasn't Javier Castellano. I don't know what I'm looking at anymore.
Okay, you're usually right.
And that's why I thought he would come down. Because
Well, I thought that made it clear how much he was coming in.
that's number one. Number two, up in Saratoga the last couple of summers, we had a couple of instances where there were multiple, more than 2, 3, 4 horses involved. It was almost automatic disqualification when a third or fourth
Well,
horse
I
was
don't know
involved.
why that horse. I think even Christophe thought that he was coming down.
I was stunned.
Yeah.
I was stunned.
And that, I mean,
I was stunned.
Yeah. Regardless, he ran well. I think this is a tough field, though. I think it's a tough field.
It is.
It was Jose Ortiz. You
On
don't know what you're looking at
Flavius?
anymore. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Anthony Stabile being humbled. You won't see it too often. You've got to stick around for this moment.
On
You want to gather
on
yourself?
Flavius?
You want to gather yourself?
Who'd Javier ride?
No. Flavius, according to
Shad
you.
had like 4 in the race, didn't he?
No, we had Flavius in Delaware. Anyhow, I do think that Majestic Dunhill's dangerous. I think there are a lot of different horses in this race, and I feel like he was last time of time. I didn't leave him out of my top 4 like you did. Okay, so we will show you Javi rode Sambaye. That makes sense, right? Sambaye for Todd. Let's take a look at front run of the Fed. This is in the English Channel running second. Why do you like front run the Fed today? This is where he runs second to Seismic Wave, making that last move.
Say that again? Oh, this is the English Channel, yeah. I like the cutback. I think this horse, the one-turn races are what he wants to do. I know he won the Better Talk Now at Saratoga last year. I think he's just better than those horses on the turf. The one-turn for me, especially the sprints.
I also wonder, and I know that he won on turfs that were listed as good. There was a lot of give in that ground that he was running in that day, and there was a lot of give in the ground last time at Churchill. That course wasn't firm. That turf was good.
Nobody
and
moved
it was a super
that day.
slow pace.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something else. I thought there were some horses in the early part of Churchill and that have proven from Chad's barn that maybe they needed a race. You look at Duopoly, the maiden that took a ton of money and didn't run particularly well, and then came back and ran very well at Monmouth to win. I wonder if maybe they could use that start. I think he'll run better. I think the one-turn races do suit him. I think he can be a bit forward in this race where there isn't a ton of speed in this race.
And this is no offense to the other guys that have ridden him, but Jose Lezcano gets along with this horse very, very well.
I don't blame Javier last time.
I don't
probably
either.
Instructions. I thought he was taken back
Nobody
too far.
moved.
I don't know why he wasn't more forward.
And that race was like everybody just stayed in place around there. It was a very strange race. A very strange race.
Yeah, I do like him. So let's talk about some other horses. You've got the 10, Chewing Gum second. You just couldn't leave Bill out?
You can use No,
I couldn't use this horse in a million years.
Why not?
Because I don't think he's nearly good enough to win this race. He ran fine behind Telekinesis when they ran at Churchill Downs a couple starts ago.
He should have beat him.
These are better horses. Anthony, he beat Sayaf.
I'm not saying...
What price would Sayaf be?
I'm not saying...
What price would Sayaf be?
He'd be big. I'm not saying he's...
This is like...
Listen, he needs
this is
to
a
improve.
move up in company for this horse, and he's 7-2 morning line.
I did not know he was going to be... I don't think he's going to be that. Listen...
I will be shocked if this horse is
What's the favorite in
competitive.
here? I thought the favorite was going to be 3-1, 7-2 in here. You think he's going to be one of the favorites?
I don't make the line here. A guy who's much better at making morning lines than I am makes the line. I actually like the other Belmont horse in here, Penalty. I think you watched last time out. I don't know what happened with him last time out. He didn't have the best of trips in that race. He's got back races that are pretty good.
He's getting a key rider change. Harvey's little Goyle aside, Martine Garcia did not have the best spring, summer on the turf at Churchill Downs.
Well, he had one that mattered.
That's what I just said.
He gave a great
Harvey's
ride
little
to
Goyle aside. This is a key rider change to A guy that's won on him already. And
Well, he was compromised by a very slow pace 2 back. He beat Larjan, who's okay. I think 7 furlongs is going to suit him very well. And of the 2 Belmont horses, I strongly prefer this horse.
listen, I could certainly use him.
What about Vichy being the controlling speed here?
I don't know if I want Vichy going the 7/8, having to clear. And I would think Telekinesis has to be ridden a little aggressively. I know he can't stay up and stay with him.
Not
But
nearly as fast as that horse. What about Isotherm, who's got back turf races and stakes that could make him a real player
I
here?
watched Isotherm at Laurel the other day, and he was just making up ground.
No, the race was
A lot. The race was falling apart, but he was making up. At least he
the
showed
only
at 7
argument
he
for
could
that,
still.
well, the only argument is that was a prep. His first start off a long
Undoubtedly a prep,
layoff.
right?
And, well, in theory, a prep.
Yeah.
That's the argument for liking him as a prep. He was 17-1.
He won the Pilgrim here? I think he won the Pilgrim here.
I remember he was, he was actually a little bit of a Tacitus. And I remember a certain unnamed turf writer writing something very stupid on Twitter about how, making that Tacitus, he always gets in trouble, all these things. And then he went out and won the stake race that day at Santa Anita. And he finally got a good trip. Yeah, and it's that, it's that notion that horses that are unlucky and it's not their fault are somehow, it is their fault. It's not. It's not Tacitus' fault the pace was slow at Oaklawn. It's not Tacitus' fault it's his fault he stumbled, but he's not a horse that stumbles a lot and then ended up on a dead rail. It's not his fault he was 5 wide against a gold rail, and the horse who beat him had a gold rail perfect trip. There is trouble. There's horses that find ways to lose, and there's horses that get legitimate trouble and have legitimate excuses. And there's a very big difference. And I think sometimes people seem to act as though horses, I remember Slew of Gold in 1983, going back a ways, kept finding ways to lose races, but he kept getting unlucky. The races weren't setting up well for him. He was probably moving too soon in races, and then suddenly the fall came, and he was the best horse in the country. That happens sometimes.
That's what happens. Yeah.
And Isotherm was one that was foolishly criticized by a lot of people. Thought he was like a money burner.
He's the to me the interesting one in here.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting race. Race number 10. I thought race number 10 was a wildly interesting race. I don't. Oh, this was the ridiculous Anthony.
This was the ridiculous one. Yeah.
This horse has no chance, Anthony.
Okay.
How is this horse going to win this race? Do you know how many interesting horses are in this race?
There's a lot of interesting horses. This horse is
Just
at
running
least
against Alfalfa and Beachfront. Do you know how much better this field is? You got to stop.
Potentially, it's better.
Anthony.
It's potentially better.
Well, he's potentially not. He's not potentially. He's definitively not good enough.
He might not be.
But you're just going to pick all the Anthony. I mean, Horatio Deposito. He's
I'm going to pick all the Anthony Stabile horses.
Horatio Deposito's going to stop running horses in New York when you won. Look what you did to poor Bill Mott.
You
finally got off his back yesterday, and the guy won 3 races. You buried him early in the meet.
Frank's Rocket. I picked Mr. Hold on a second.
Yeah, you
We
buried
got
him.
5 minutes. You didn't pick Tacitus yesterday.
Yeah.
You've been running around here for the last year and a half defending the horse, and you didn't pick him.
I thought that Mr. Buff had a chance to beat him and
telling
he'd
me
be a
about
much better
jumping
price.
off of him?
Once again, if I think horses are relatively similar in chances, and
That
one
has
horse is
nothing to
going
do
to
with
be
this argument. You're telling me I jumped off Belmont and he won 3 races. I picked 2 of the 3.
I'm not in love with Belmont the same way you are. You're picking horses. I mean,
You didn't pick
let me
any of
ask
his
you a
winners
question.
yesterday.
If the trainers' names were X in this race, would you have been picked Silver Token in this race?
Probably not. I probably would have put him second or third.
Probably not.
I probably would
You
have
know
put
who
him second or
Isotherm
third.
beat in the Pilgrim? And he was a problem horse. Nick's hammer texted me, and he's made a good point. A horse that I love. A horse that I have absolute mad love, and you've recently accused me of having mad love for the connections.
2015.
And you're not totally wrong. I think he's still running. He ran here at this meet. So, he's a really good horse. You'll think of him. We'll mention at the end of the show. Anyhow, let's look at Sanctuary City's last race before we run out of time with nonsense here. This is Sanctuary City's first race running second at Turbo Drive. If you buy the buyer fig, this horse is going to be very hard to beat in this race.
Yep.
I just think that figure came up too high. But I will say that I think this horse is better going shorter than longer. And this was classically a case of a horse stretching out. Got a very good ride by Rajiv to finish second this day. But he did run well in here. His race was coming apart, and I wouldn't completely dismiss him. Isn't he kind of the horse to beat? Is he favorite on the line?
Who are we talking about here?
Sanctuary City, the replay.
There wasn't. Yeah,
was
I was
Rajiv.
with the last race.
It was Rajiv.
It was Rajiv. This is Kendrick. He's 9-2 on the morning line. You said Rajiv, and I was looking down looking for Romero.
Let's look at Striking Causeway's last race, finishing third. This horse ran very well in this race. A lot of horses ran well in here.
Yeah, this horse, he did all the heavy lifting and all the dirty work.
The 8 and 7 are the two to beat.
He has every reason to just call it a day, and he keeps on going. Keeps on going. I can't remember who the horse is. You're going to have to tell me. Yeah.
He's one of my total pets. He is 100% one of my biggest pets. Literally like my favorite horses running.
And here's Jack of Clubs going to get the money on the outside. I mean, Striking Causeway did
actually, the horse that probably should have won was Scuttlebuzz, but Striking Causeway did all the dirty work. And those are the two dangerous horses.
Yeah.
Listen, more like it in that race was kind of blocked in the late stages. I thought the running was over, but he's not impossible. I didn't put him in there. I probably should have had him as my fourth pick. I'm going to take a small shot with Boom Boom Kaboom. The Weaver barn has been extremely hot, and congratulations to them yesterday for the win with Vekoma.
Great job. I was so wrong. Great job with Vekoma yesterday.
Yeah,
and you know what? Javier Castellano needs a little credit here, too.
100%.
Okay?
Javier gave that horse a sensational. Javier immediately realized the pace wasn't developing, and he made that move.
As soon as he broke as sharply as he did, he never
took anything away from him.
He just let him go.
Yep.
He knew the horse was faster than
Irad's right on network effect, keeping him in the game as well. And I'm going to say it, and I love Vekoma. As you know, I'm a huge Vekoma fan. Code of Honor ran some racing.
Code of Honor was, I was worried about the mile.
It wasn't the mile.
It wasn't the mile.
It was the pace that got him.
It was the pace that got him.
He ran. And I don't think there was a bias yesterday. I think it was more the dynamics of the races that made it, people perceive that speed was good. I understand why people think certain things. I don't think it's true. I think it was more a dynamic situation than anything else that I thought Code of Honor ran.
Talk about your Boom Boom Kaboom.
Well, so his first race wasn't that bad. And last time out, I watched the race. He broke a little bit slow. He was kind of shuffled out of position early. Gets a rider switch here to Manny Franco. And I feel like today is go time. And he's going to be a big price in a very tough competitive race. So I'm going to hope he takes a step forward here while acknowledging both the 7 and 8 are the dangerous horses in here.
Yeah.
And
I don't particularly like the 7, but you'd have to use those 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8. I mean, some 7. There's a lot of horses I think can win this race.
Anthony just loves ratio to pause. I think watching your relationship bloom on Talking Horses is a beautiful
thing. I didn't know the horse was going to be 6-1 on the morning line either. I thought that horse would be 10-1 coming out of the claiming races. I'll be honest. I probably wouldn't have picked him if I thought it was that. If he was going to be that short.
On a scale of 1 to 1 billion, how happy were you to see Tacitus win easily yesterday? Like I was 999 million.
I was flipping
999,999.
It was amazing. It was so good.
It was nice to see.
I was flipping out at my dining room table.
It was nice to see him win. It was nice to see him win.
Good effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he was supposed to do.
It turned out that, Mr. Buff didn't show up, and obviously Sir Winston as well. But, so those big margins are often an illusion of that, and the track was very quick yesterday. But I was just happy to see him win.
It's good to see. Yeah. Good to see good horses finally get the job done, have things kind of go the right way for once.
No, I mean, yesterday everything went his way. There's no doubt about it. But you know what? As we said before,
there's a happy
things
medium.
Aren't going to continuously go badly for him.
Correct.
Sometimes they're going to go okay, and he'll have to show that he's good enough to win. And obviously, the going is going to get tougher. Will Bill go to the Whitney, or will he wait to the Woodward? The Woodward's
a mile and a quarter this year. Yeah,
he could run them both. Bill runs
he could
his horses.
run it both. I would think he's had a lot of, he's run well here. I would think you want to get to the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
Of course.
So I think whatever you kind of work backwards from Breeders' Cup to Jockey Club Gold Cup, which do you want to run them twice? Maybe you want to run them twice. I don't know.
I mean, it's not like Tacitus is a horse that's shown he doesn't have, he just runs well every time.
Always shows up.
Anyhow.
Always shows up.
Anthony,
I was very
thank
happy
you
for
again.
my boy. Yes. See you Thursday.
America's Day at the Races will be on from 1 to 6:30 today on Fox Sports 1. The usual cast of characters. Head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, use the promo code MATCH200, and we will match up to a $200 deposit. NairaBets.com. It's where all the action's happening. And by the way, follow Naira Bets on Twitter.
Yes.
Lots of good stuff there. Do not rely on me to retweet them all the time. A lot of good stuff on that Naira Bets Twitter account. Follow them on Twitter and join Naira Bets as well. Anthony, have a lovely day, because I'm sure you're leaving me.
I'm getting out of here.
I am not.
Going to see Phil.
I'll be here. Phil, he's all yours. Johnny I, take it away.
Hello, racing fans. Once again, welcome to beautiful Belmont Park. Sunny skies, the temperature in the upper 80s. Main track is fast, turf course is firm, and the portable rails are up at 9 feet on the Widener and the inner. We have a jackpot carryover in the Empire 6 of more than $328,000. 10 races today. In the first race,